Welcome around the workstand, Mark.
Hey, Susie, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well, you know. We had a nice little off mic intro talking about bikes and
Yes,
life. So it's a good start to the day.
nothing like talking about gravelly bikes.
I know. I do want a new bike this year, but it's not a gravel bike. I do have a gravel bike. Like, let's be clear. I have
And, and
I have one of everything.
and you can ride almost any bike on some gravel.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's not why we're here today,
No,
unfortunately. Or
no.
fortunately.
Oh, I like both. I like talking
hmm
about bikes and I like talking about this stuff, marketing type stuff.
Yeah. So we're excited. This year we're kind of kicking off a new content series, chatting about how to market your business. We find that is increasingly important these days.
Yeah, very much so. It's very much a
Yeah.
contact sport these days.
Numbers game.
Numbers game. What other words can we use from the business book, handbook of silly things you say in business?
Uh
Synergy.
oh, synergy. I didn't know I took this note. This was from the words of the leader of our search marketing team. Uh Engaged equals growth.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I thought that was
It's almost
nice.
like a E equals MC squared thing.
I know. I even wrote it in my notes as like engaged equal sign growth.
Let's just call it E equals G squared
G cubed. It's like it just
cubed.
gets,
Yeah.
well, why is it so important to take an active role in your marketing?
Well, certainly you can do a few things, and maybe you get what you want without a lot of effort,
hmm
and it supports your business, and that's great. So that might be you have a Workstand website, you're on the local package. It helps your customers learn about things and find you in local search most of the time, and that's great. And you get some orders, and you're happy with that. If, though, you want more, there's just a lot of competition out there. And Google didn't get to be a $3 trillion company by giving everything away. And so it pays to have an active approach to marketing your business. And that's what we want to help with. And if you're that first sort of person that the thought of spending even $50 a month to promote something proactively offends you, that's okay. But understand that marketing takes some investment. It takes some time. It doesn't take as much as people think it does. And we can help with all of it. And that's, I think, the purpose of this whole year's worth of content, because you've done a really great job of planning that out. And that's part of what we want to talk about as we get started is the podcast every month, the episode where it's just me and you usually.
hmm
You've got great stuff for us. And we're going to walk through each month another facet of how to market your business, how to grow sales, how to get more customers, and what investment, if any. Sometimes it's things that don't cost money that you can do yourself. Sometimes it's things that you probably are better served by paying a professional for. But we're going to walk through that every year. And if I'm not mistaken, you have blog posts to go along with all of those.
I'd say we went real big this year. We're organized. It's like new year, new us. I don't know.
Well, don't say, at least we is related to you're organized. I'm watching and trying to add something as you go along, but you've really done a great job of getting this stuff ready. So I'm excited to get to it. 'Cause this is the kind of thing I talk about with merchants all the time.
Yeah. And it's, last year was a bit of a roller coaster. And we really saw retailers who were very active in their marketing, especially in the Google game. They saw the most success, or at least
Yep.
were more steady over kind of that roller coaster that we experienced last year. And so we want to try to help extend some of that knowledge to more retailers. All of this is very scalable. And I think it's just, there's another part of it, just kind of like getting some experience, creating a habit. It gets easier and more efficient as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everything. Everything you do with some get some reps in, it gets better.
Yeah, like Mark riding his bike a bunch already this year.
I have on a trainer.
Whoa, who are you?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who I am. I just walk down there and do it. I don't even fight it. Yeah.
Amazing. So don't fight us. Do it.
But you know what I do a lot when I'm doing that is I listen to podcasts and I watch YouTube and I learn stuff because I try and make it educational. You could do the same thing. Just schedule us, get on the trainer, get your AirPods in or whatever, and listen to the podcast and learn how to better market your business over the next 11 months now.
Yeah.
Because we're already through January.
Well, I think we're kicking it off. I think we tried to order things in a way that made sense. Words are hard. We're kicking it off with a big topic, and I think this is really important to help kind of lay the groundwork of your marketing, and that is win Google search.
Yep. And that's really, that's what we're really after. One of the main reasons to have an e-commerce enabled, a catalog enabled website is because a search starts everything these days. When people, you remember the stats that 93 or 96% of all shopping starts with search. Even that ends up in a store, it started with the search. So winning search is really important.
Yeah. It's kind of the first, first step of engagement for sure. So we'll give a quick kind of rundown of how we're structuring this, especially because we have this blog post. It's going to have some complementary content. So if you want some more, I'll give you a quick, table of contents. I don't know.
Yeah. An outline.
An outline. So we've got we're grouping this into 4 main topics. We've got your website, how to control how you show up on the internet. That's going to be Google Business Profile. Leveraging free shopping listings on Google, and then kind of competing for best placement with Google Ads.
Yeah.
So our blog is really going to go into more detail on those first 2 and 3 main topics. We're going to skim over them, and we're going to dive in real deep on the Google Ad portion today.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
So let's start the skimming.
Skimming. So your website.
Yeah. And most folks listening have a Workstand website, but not all. So if you don't, that's the first good step is reach out. We'll get you set up with the site. But even if you have a not Workstand website, these things still matter.
Yes. Catalog enabled, e-commerce capable website is going to be kind of like step 1, displaying at least your in-store inventory. But once you've got all that, you want to make sure that you're maintaining your website. We always say a well-maintained website performs best. That's also going to help boost your SEO. Localize your content. That's a good piece. So maybe it could be anything from creating new pages or having some content around like where to ride in X, wherever you're located. Some winter riding tips for your area. Our staff picks, things that are just like very specific to you and what you offer and where you are. But you can also kind of enhance some of those durable evergreen pages like your service page or bike fit, make some of that specific to your area as well.
Yeah. Take the opportunity to bring some of that in-store personality, that in-store experience and professionalism, and make sure that is visible as well on your website, because we know people are by and large going to find the website first. When they want bicycle service, they're going to probably find that service page before they actually call or show up in the store. So connect those dots, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we mentioned Workstand websites. So they're all built on a great SEO foundation, schema data, bunch of background dev work, all that good stuff. Even just so you're shopping, your catalog is a huge SEO asset. But there's some little things that you can do to kind of enhance that a little bit. And that's going to be your adding locally relevant and useful and concise page titles and meta descriptions. We've got some of the kind of guidelines. Google doesn't actually have a limit, but when you search, you see there's only so many words that show up in those search results. So we've got those specifics in our blog post. So check that out.
Yeah, and a tech tippy kind of thing is sometimes a page name, a title, needs to be something friendly for the navigation. You don't want a 6-word title of a page to show up in your site navigation. So within the page settings, there's a place to have a page title that you can put in that's a little more search friendly. So take advantage of that piece as well. If you need a little something different, you want to name it this for one reason, but you need for search to have it be a little more detailed. That's where that can be helpful. And those meta descriptions, less about SEO search results, more about that's the snippet Google's going to likely use when that page is being presented. So you want it to be written like a person would want to read it. So you're not writing for computers, you're writing for people there.
Yeah, and I use that a lot too. It's like, why should I click on this resource over the other things I've specifically searched for? So that will show up. I did add a little pro tip. whenever you're using any of our pre-built complementary content, whether it's, seasonal marketing content that we release monthly or a pre-built bike service page, those all have page titles and meta descriptions pre-written, but you could just give it a little tweak.
Yeah. A little local tweak.
Yeah, a little local tweak. Make it specific to you. So if that kind of helps, you don't have to start from scratch. You've got something to work with.
Agreed.
Yeah. What about Google Business Profile? What is this? Why should you do something with that?
Well, like I said before, Google didn't get to be Google without thinking about Google. And so first of all, those Google business profiles are super helpful. When people are searching simply for the information, then they want to act on it offline. A lot of times that's the place. Google, I think, calls that a 0-click result.
Yep.
So it's important. We wish every result ended up on your website, but that's just not the Google reality. And so those places are very important. It's important because also consumers like to interact in those sections. Yeah. So being able to have a few images there, responding to any comments there and reviews there, very important. And it's important because that's the way consumers have been trained. Not all of them, but some of them have been trained to just live off that data and make sure it's good data.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good place to make sure all your contact information is consistent. Like you mentioned the 0-click. I mean, I don't know how many times I'm just searching for something that a business that I already frequent, or like my vet's office. I'll use that just to like grab the phone number, call them directly from there, double check hours, things like that. So
yeah, good point though with that being consistent, because there's so many social platforms now we've even forgotten some.
Yeah,
but when your information's not consistent across those platforms, that's many instances of your business that aren't the same. And it may be minor differences, but it can make a difference in how an algorithm figures out if it's the same business or not. So make sure the street addresses are put in the same way. If you use AVE in one place and Avenue in another place, that's inconsistent. So get them Google knows the difference, but it matters across those platforms. And hours of operation are probably the biggest thing. We just came out of a holiday period when lots of stores changed their hours. And if you only change it on your website or only change it in Google, now they're inconsistent. And that inconsistency causes frustration, and consumers don't like frustration, and that they'll behave in a way that suggests they don't like it. And Google can see that behavior. So get those things consistent across the platforms.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a free service. So, use it. Speaking of free, what about Google, like free shopping listings?
Yeah. Again, Google wants your data.
Yes.
They like to use it in different places. So if you can give them your data, which the website, if you have a Workstand website, it generates that product data in a file that Google can consume without you having to do anything other than check a couple of boxes in the website. Now, you do have to set up what Google calls Google Merchant Center in order to consume that data on the Google side. You can do that yourself at no charge. And then if you get that set up, then there is a free shopping program. Now, it will never be those ads that your products show up in will never be the prime real estate at the very top of the page. That's you got to pay Google to get there, but they show up in all sorts of other places, and Google doesn't charge for that. And I did say you can set Merchant Center up yourself, because I'm guessing people are smarter than I am at that, because I can't figure Google Merchant Center out. So we have a paid project where our team can do it. They do it all day long. They can get it set up for you and get you into those free shopping campaign. And if you do decide, not to jump ahead a few bullet points, but if you do decide to move into paid product ads, then that same setup procedure preps everything for that activity as well.
Yeah. And again, I think it's there's no reason to not do it. It's going to work with any website, any of the Workstand website packages. It doesn't matter if you're in Light, you're just displaying your in-store bikes. This is still incredibly useful. It is, if you're maintaining your POS data and maintaining your catalog or your Workstand website, this is pretty set and forget. You set it up that once, and you're good to go.
That's true. I usually say the only set and forget thing we have is our loyalty automated emails, but this is kind of that too. I mean, there will be some hiccups in Merchant Center from time to time, but generally a lot of them resolve themselves. A lot of them you'll never fix because it's just that's just Google. So yeah, get it turned on and you don't really have to do a lot to it.
Yeah. So great next step. So you kind of talked about it. You want to show up on that first page. You want to
Right here. Look right here.
yeah, here's some examples. Luckily, so I live in Fort Collins, Colorado. We have an incredible number of bike shops, lots of cyclists, every kind of bike rider you could think of. So luckily, when I'm doing some research or looking for examples, Fort Collins is great for looking at, bike for shopping ads or bike shop listings. So if you see some screenshots that are specific to the Fort Collins area, that's fine.
Or Erie, Colorado.
Yes.
Not quite as populated with cyclists, but still.
The whole front
we
range,
represent.
You do. The whole that sounded like kind of patronizing. Well, you do. Good job.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart. The front range as a whole in Colorado, we've got some incredible bike shops,
Yeah.
awesome cycling communities. So luckily, serves us well.
Yes. Yes. So anyway, you can't get into that prime area without paying Google. But the good news is it doesn't have to be a ton of money. Obviously, we manage ads like that for about 140 of our clients. Some of them invest a lot. And the reason you can imagine they invest a lot is because they get great results from it. But it doesn't have to start that way. You can certainly start with more manageable budgets. And you can certainly ease your way into it. And then as it grows, you can get more complicated and more detailed in the ads and reach out beyond your local market. But consider starting at that local market level. Let's make sure that the products you have in the store are being served up in search to your local community. Let's make sure when they do the more general searches for things like bike shop near me and all kinds of other things, that you could show up in those searches more than just the organic nature the SEO side allows you to.
There are lots of different types of Google ads. I mean, this is going to bleed over into YouTube and all those other things. But for the purpose of today, we're talking about two main types of ads, right? Yep. We got search ads, also known as text ads, or awareness ads.
Yeah, we tend to call it awareness.
Because really that's the objective, right?
Yeah, because when folks are doing those kind of searches, and think about your own ways that you go through searching for something you want. Sometimes you're very specific, but a lot of times you're just kind of general. You have a general question about a bike or a repair or, changing a flat or whatever that is. And you do a rather general search for that. How do I change a bike tire? Where can I get my bike tuned up? Where's a bike shop near me, et cetera. Those are the awareness type ads where they're not very specific, but you want to make sure that because they are related to a bike shop that you have a chance to win those searches. There's an organic point to that. And when I say organic, that's when people say SEO, search engine optimization, and organic search. That's the part that you don't pay extra for that. You get those results because you do a good job with your website and your other digital presence. So there's a limit to that, though. And again, Google likes to get paid. And so participating in the paid part of it gives you a better chance of winning those searches when you should win those searches.
Yeah, absolutely. I had just a quick question about search. We talked about how we see retailers have a ton of success focusing on their local market, and what that means. I think like geo-targeting wise can change depending on what your area looks like. If you're more urban or more rural, it's a tough word. But do we have many retailers running search ads regionally or nationally?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Again, you said you can target it geographically, and that changes. It changes for a lot of reasons. Sometimes it changes because a merchant knows that a large part of their business comes from a particular area around them, and then we can target that area to make sure they win more of those searches. Sometimes it's just a matter of budget. We want to get started with these kind of search ads. We have whatever amount of money it is that the merchant has to spend. We don't want to water that down by trying to go too far away. We want to figure out the most likely chance for success and use that money wisely. So there's all sorts of reasons that or reasons that the area the ad covers, or the style of ad, or even the program we have. We have this local program meant to help local retailers reach local customers. And so it could be that style of ad. We want to stay there. There's all sorts of reasons. But yeah, if your goal is to be known in a large regional area or even a national area, then absolutely we can run those kind of ads as broadly as you want. It does take more budget to be broad like that. But again, it's almost never as much as people think it is.
Yeah. So like we mentioned, that's going to be those text, those search ads. You see those all the time. I think another good point that you mentioned for some of those awareness search terms or keyword searches, like bike shop near me, electric bikes near me. Not only could you show up first in the search results and those text placements that you'll see, but also in the map pack. And I grabbed a screenshot in my area of what it looks like, and you'll see that top spot has a little sponsored, and that's because they're running those search ads.
Yeah, again, there used to be, 10 years ago, you'd do a Google search and there'd be 12 or 15 results, organic free results on page one. Now there's 2 or 3, and everything else is either a Google property, and the map packs is part of that, or a paid result. And sometimes they interact with, they overlap with each other. So you'll show up in that map pack somewhere, and map pack's just that, block of maps and stores and things. You'll show up in there somewhere. But participating in paid ads rearranges that order so that you have a chance to show up a little higher up in the results.
Yeah. And this may sound basic, but I encourage you to do those searches in your area. See what shows up. See what the order of. You may see some shopping ads, a few text ads, that map pack. Kind of check out where you might be if you kind of took the next steps with this.
Yeah, another one of those pro tips is, browsers have settings that control how your results can affect how your results show up.
Yeah. And
so sometimes you'll do a local merchant does a result and they go, I don't see anything. I don't see me at all. It's like, well, it knows it's you. Why would it show you? So grab your buddy's phone and say, let me borrow your phone for a minute and do a search so that you get, different browser settings, and it just remembers history and things. So a clean way, and sometimes you can use an incognito mode to do that, but it really helps to be away from the browser you usually use. If you're always a Chrome person, try it on Safari. It also helps just to not be you. So ask a friend or a family member to do a similar search in that area. We sometimes try and do those searches, but again, we're not there. So we get a little bit different results, but it pays to spread that around a little bit and try and get a realistic view of what's happening when other people search for you.
Yeah. Well, I think let's talk about shopping or product ads. I think we get the most, both interest from retailers and the most kind of questions from retailers about these as well.
Yeah. And they've changed a lot. I mean, for a long, long time, products had to be shippable. And so it really left bikes out, except for off-brand bikes that allowed merchants to ship, and or very, very large national players that had permission to ship bikes. But a few years back, Google added a local inventory component to that, which makes it easier to show and use these ads, these product type ads, shopping ads, for products that aren't shippable, or products you wouldn't normally want to ship. Maybe they're very heavy, like a trainer, so you really want to offer that for in-store pickup. They can do that. And so the beauty of this now is we can say, let's show the full breadth of what a retailer might have, including bikes, and let's get those in front of local shoppers that are ready to buy. They've searched very specifically. They're searching for that product. Yeah. And if you've got it, let's get you in that top section, those little rectangular boxes at the very top of a search result page. Let's get you in there. And like you said, they've got those fun tags on it, available today or in store or in stock, those kind of tags. That's one of those Pavlovian things. You're searching for something that's available today. Today, I can have it today. Here we come. So, and they have 2 big results. They certainly generate sales. We certainly end up with attributable sales. The ad shows, it gets clicked directly. They end up on the website. They buy the thing, directly attributable sale. But we also know, because of their placement, they have a huge effect on store traffic. And so we see that the store comes up, the bike's there, and they go, I know where that store is. And they don't ever touch the ad. It's kind of like those 0-click Google results. which is fun because those ads are pay per click. So if they don't actually click them, you don't pay for that part of the ad. But they see that, and it's that local awareness, because everybody that's run a business has had the frustrating experience of somebody walks in, they look around, they go, I didn't even know there was a bike shop here. How long have you been here? And you go, 10 years.
Yeah.
So this kind of circumvents that. And they didn't know you were there or didn't realize it, but boom, there you are, and you're in the neighborhood and you're there. So they have a two-pronged effect. One is the direct sales, and one is that they directly influence store traffic, and that really adds to the value of investing in those ads.
Yeah, we've talked about this multiple times here, that we are that customer. I'll search for
sure.
a specific item. I see it. I see that little pop-up that says in store, and I'm like, I end up in places that I would have never gone. Like,
yeah.
I mean, silly one. I'm not a big supplement user, but I use a few different things. And, I don't think I've ever been in a vitamin shop, but I needed this one specific thing, and that's where it was. And so that's where I ended up.
Yeah. I try and remember, because of what we do for a living, I try not to click the ad if I can avoid it.
Yeah, no.
It's only a few cents, but I don't want to cost them a few cents if I know I'm going there anyway.
Yeah. I just drive on down there. It's worked. I mean, it's worked for me every time. Even something as silly as I need a really specific ingredient for a recipe. We'll search for it, see if I could track her down.
It's just become part of the way we find things. So
yeah,
it is probably part of the way a lot of people find things. And we want to make sure that our merchants, bike shops in general, we want to make sure the market is that channel of independent bike shops knows and understands that it is an option and how to get into it. And we can absolutely help with that.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, I think, that geo-targeting piece we talked about. This is where I think we do get, I think, people that are a little bit more hesitant. They think that they hear Google shopping ads. They think they say shopping. They think shopping. Let's hope so. They think shipping and discounting, and that you can't control where these show up or who's seeing these. And this is you're going to have to ship in order to run these. I guess I should be a little bit more concise.
Yeah. Well, for sure, we need to be price competitive. So we can't have a price that's wildly off the mark. But just like folks buy in your store, when there's certainly a way they might save a few cents, that same premise applies. So you don't have to deeply discount products, especially in these local inventory ads where we're really appealing to your local market. You don't have to deeply discount things to appeal and win those ads. And likewise, you don't have to search anything. Again, when we start with these local availability ads, the idea is that you're local. The idea is just that the market's got lots of players in it, and you want to make sure you have a chance to rise above and show that and get people into the store.
Yeah, and we do have some retailers that are very successful running ads regionally or nationally. Mm-hmm. Like you said, price is a piece. Some of these folks are doing special buys in order to offer a really competitive price. And then, of course, they are shipping. So,
yeah, but some of them aren't, though. Some of them are leaning on suppliers.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
A lot of Trek dealers, because Bontrager makes really great products that aren't bikes. They're easy to ship. They're fulfillable, especially with Workstand. They're fulfillable directly through the site. You can submit those for supplier fulfillment. And so we run specific programs to highlight those products and let Trek pick, pack, and ship. So there's lots of options. It's not a yes or no offer on kind of decision. But the main point is it doesn't take a gigantic budget. It doesn't take, you don't have to be ready to ship every product across the country. There is a way to step into this that can drastically improve the visibility and therefore grow sales at a much faster pace than you can organically.
Yeah. I think let's talk a little bit about budget. This is a question that comes up, I think, maybe the most.
It comes up a lot.
Yeah.
So there's two things to think about. One is we are professionals at managing these ads. We get paid to manage those ads. Mm-hmm. Now, I've looked. I think we charge about a half or about a third in some cases of what other agencies charge for that. But to us, it's an augmentation of the existing relationship. Mm-hmm. And because of the Workstand platform, it makes it a little easier than it is on a lot of other platforms. So that's part of it. So we get, for instance, let's just talk about the local search ads. So if you want to get into these awareness ads at the local level, we charge $125 a month plus 10% of the ad spend, and not ad budget, because sometimes we don't spend all your budget. So we charge that 10% on the actual spend part. And then budgets can be any, technically you can pay Google anything you want. You can pay them $1 a day. But it doesn't make any sense to pay for professional management without enough in the game to really see results. And so, $400 to $500 a month, sometimes $300 a month is enough to allow us to show you the power of this and to get some real traction from it. I hate to talk about the minimum. We shouldn't always be focused on how little can I do, but I understand that it's an unknown, and I want most of our merchants, if they are hesitant, I want to give them an easy path into it, but I want to make sure there's enough investment to be able to see real results. And so if you can do that, then that's where we can do that work and show you some real results. Most of the time, everybody wants to spend more on it after we see the real results, because if we spend X and get Y, and Y is greater than X by some factor, let's do more so we can get more. And yeah, there's a limit, but it's a pretty big limit. There's a lot to do. You can really get into this. And like you said, we help a lot of retailers do this on a national level. So the ceiling's really high, but let's get you in there so you can feel that for yourself and feel those results. And you don't really have to trust us or anybody else to say, well, do this and you might get some results. We know you get results.
Right. And so I think some of that budget talk rolls into specificity. Oof, that's a lot. Oh, couldn't get that out of my mouth for a hot second. Specificity or granularity. We get a lot of questions about, like how specific can I get? I have this, I'm overstocked on this specific type of shoe. Can I just run ads for this? And it's kind of, we want to say you could, but you shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, there's just, everybody gets excited and maybe you overbought something and that's what's on your mind. And with these local ads, you don't really do that. The local ads are really built for, let's get your inventory in front of your local customers to the extent that people are searching for that. Now, beyond that, when we get into the bigger programs, which don't cost all that much more, but they do require a little more thought and multiple campaigns, and that's why those fees are a little bit more, then we could theoretically say, I just want to run ads on this shoe. But think about it from the consumer standpoint. How many people are searching for just that shoe? Doesn't it make more sense to run ads around a category or multiple categories or brands and that kind of thing? Because people tend to search slightly more broadly. They are specific because they want a product. But if you ended up because you put a 0 after the 5 and you've got 50 pair of size 37 road shoes, we don't really want to run an ad for just that size shoe because there's not that many people searching for that exact size shoe.
Yeah, I got some snippets from the genius, Matt Viara himself, the leader of our Google team. I love this. Again, another direct quote, granularity is the enemy of selling. But I really liked this. So,
is he using AI to come up with these?
I don't know. This was just a call we had and he just spouted this at me and I was like, ooh, let me write that down.
He just yoded all that out on you.
Yeah. I just ate it up. I don't know. Right. But what I really loved is he talked about how you can utilize budget. You can prioritize budget to kind of do, I think, some of the things that you were talking about. Maybe push some bigger priorities you have for yourself or some areas of focus, areas of growth. So example was bikes. And I like this is like run ads for all of your bikes. But maybe do $1 per click on full price bikes and then $2 per click on like e-bikes or sale bikes. So I really liked that. I thought that was a good way of kind of like, you're getting it all out there and you're not telling people, you're showing people everything you have, but you're getting a little bit more competitive on some good areas of growth. And
maybe we should rephrase his granularity thing and say, granularity in conjunction with a broad approach is the right way to think about that. We've got to think about the business as a whole.
Yeah.
And once we've done that and we're sure we're going to cast the widest net, then we can get more granular on that. But if we only do the granular, we're hoping for connection that's going to be harder to have.
There we go. Maybe I needed some context with those words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as long as he's spouting words of wisdom, let's use it.
Take what I can get. Um, what did we miss? We talked a lot about, we got kind of local versus national or regional,
Yep.
attribution, budget.
One of the other questions that always comes up, and it comes up on lots of things, websites, subscriptions, agency subscriptions, the maintenance and marketing program, all that stuff, is contracts. Because most of the world wants to lock you into a contract. We just don't do that. So there's no contract to getting into the Google ad setup. Now, with that said, it does take time to do the work to build the ads and do all the setup. And it takes time for the ads to get going, to get served on a regular basis, to get some data back to help know exactly how to tweak them. So while we don't have contracts, and we certainly would never want anyone stuck in a commitment simply because of a contract when their situation changed and something needs to change, we always want to support that. Do think about it from a 90-day, a quarter. Give it a quarter to get things rolling and really see the results, and then judge from there. So, but end of the day, we don't want you stuck in something that doesn't work for whatever reason, whether you've had a change in your situation or whatever. So we don't do contracts.
Yeah. Well, I think we covered a lot today. Like we mentioned, we've got that blog post that's going to kind of lay a little bit more of that groundwork. Maybe before you dive into ads, just make sure your website's dialed in. You got your Google Business Profile and Google Merchant set up. That's going to be the must-haves.
Must-haves. And if you need help with that, for about 400 of our clients, they realize how important website maintenance is. They just also realize it's not important that they do it. There's some things only they can do. This isn't one of them. So let us help. We've got a maintenance program where we can maintain that. Our ads team loves that because having the website dialed is great. You don't want to pay for a result and send that result to a less than optimum experience on a website. So it is important.
Yeah, and kind of coming back to the words of the wisdom, I really hope Matt VR listens to this and he feels special. The engaged equal growth really also applies to who you enlist for help.
Yes.
We want you to be engaged in your marketing and your website and all of those pieces, but you also should work with a company who is also engaged with your business.
Yeah, that understands your market. That's been there, done that.
Yeah.
That's us.
That's us. I mean, the whole team. I mean, Matt's whole team is fantastic. Everyone with incredible bike shop and industry experience. Really performance oriented folks.
Yeah.
And they really, I mean, I don't know. I feel cheesy, but they genuinely care about your business. And at least start with a chat with Mark.
Yep. We'll figure out the basics of which parts you need, which parts you don't. Yep. Get you connected with the right team, work within whatever the budget is you have to work with. And we'll help grow, because that's what this is all about. If you don't sell more stuff, then nobody's happy.
No. Well, I guess until then, we'll see you around the workstand.